Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Big shout out to my guys over at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets, which has been keeping my head safe out on the road for many years now. Head on over to simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. Check out all the options they have for you, and give these guys a follow on the gram at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. On today's episode, we have Mike, who is part of the Born Free duo that we've been enjoying for years. Mike was on the podcast last year to talk about Born Free Texas, and he's back on again talking about the growth, the things that are changing, the things that were great, the things that they want to get better at. We touched on a little bit of the growth of Born Free California, and overall, I think this is going to be a very informative podcast for you guys to know what to expect at Born Free Texas this year. So, before we jump into this, let's jump into the sponsors, and we're going to get right into this episode. Cowboy Harley-Davidson is located in South Austin, and they are ready to help you get on the new bike you have been thinking about, or help you get your current bike dialed in with all the performance parts and upgrades you need. From service to sales and everything in between, check them out at cowboyharleyaustin.com and on Instagram at cowboyharleyaustin. They have new 2023 bikes rolling in daily, so give them a call or head in and let them know that the Fast Life sent you. Our longest running podcast supporter, Lexin Moto, and our Bluetooth headset of choice here at the Fast Life since 2019, is still here providing you with one of the best Bluetooth headsets on the market, the G16, which I personally use on my motorcycle rides to check out everything from my favorite playlists to my favorite podcast. The battery life and sound quality is amazing on these headsets. Earlier this year, Lexin dropped the Smart Tire Pump, which became an instant everyday carry for many people on motorcycle trips. Well, now they have refined and taken the pump to new levels with the Lexin Smart Tire Pump Gen 2, which now offers an internal cooling fan, is 20% smaller in design, and can double as a portable charger while you're away from civilization. Pair these great products with some of the best customer service in the industry, and head on over to lexin-moto.com and drop the Fast Life offer code to save yourself 15% off your order. And don't forget to give these guys a follow on Instagram at Lexin Moto. If you have seen any of my personal bikes in person or on the gram over the past 6 years, you will definitely notice my ongoing support for Lucky Dave's. Their seats have always fit my ass perfectly and had the style profile I prefer in the 2-up seat game. I have ran the San Diego bars on my FXR and Dynas for years. Now I currently run the Peacemaker Bar and Riser series on my 2020 Road Glide. These bars are dope, with many options to customize the appearance, as well as get you dialed at the right height and hand position. I would go as far to say that the Lucky Dave's Riser bar is one of the most comfortable bars on the market, no matter what risers you put them in. Check out all the options for your ride at luckydaves.com and give these guys a follow to stay up on product releases and inventory restocks on the gram at Lucky Daves.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
All good, man. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Oh, just finally getting home from all the summer's festivities.
You've been out, man.
Yeah, we kicked off the summer. We got this Lowrider ST done, and we came to Born Free California, and that was which we'll talk about that for sure, because that was an amazing time this year. And then home, and then Midwest, and then home, and then Sturgis, and now home, and I'm trying to get my life back together.
Did you go to the 120th?
No, I was intending on doing so, but me and my group of friends, we do a trip every year, and this year we were trying to knock off the Midwest states. We've kind of saved the least attractive riding for the end of our journey to hit all 48. So we just went around the Great Lakes. It was still fun. It was a great time, but we just didn't have time to make it up to Milwaukee. And just with everybody coming into town, the hotel prices are going to be jacked up, and we just weren't going to be able to enjoy it the same way we would if we just came through on a random day. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, man, dude. So California this year, wow. I've never seen it that packed before.
Yeah, Saturday was pretty crazy.
I mean, how was what was y'all's? I mean, obviously, I think you expect every year a great turnout like that, but I mean that was just insane. I remember walking from kind of where the food vendors are back towards the open area where the show is, and just nothing but heads everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Saturday we were definitely over what we should have been, but it worked out good. Sunday was better than last year, but it was still, Sunday's kind of a mellower day. I wish we could get it a little bit bigger, but
Yeah.
we've tried, better bands. We've tried more giveaway stuff. I think it's just really hard. And I'm sure every show that does multiple days, whether it's Sturgis or wherever, that first big day, whatever that day is, that's the one that's going to be just, going crazy. And it's hard to do that 2 days in a row or 3 days or even a week or whatever. So, it is what it is. I mean, we were really happy with the results on everything for sure. It turned out great. We didn't really have too many issues at all. A couple little hiccups here and there, but otherwise, shit, man, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the vendor spaces were packed out really nice. There was a couple of installations I noticed this year. Axel had her. I forget what the name of her installation was with the choppers.
It's called Axel's Hideout or something. That was the first time they did that, and it was for our show. I kind of came up with that idea for her to try to do something just to get the girls involved, but they need to, they definitely learned some stuff, and her activation, that TP thing, and all that stuff. They need to improve on that. It didn't work out too well that way, but it was very successful. I mean, Harley was happy with it. They were part of that. And she was stoked on it, and they're bringing it to Texas, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it'll be a lot bigger and more improved there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I was going to ask you about this in California side. I mean, just kind of off of what we saw on Saturday. I mean, do you feel like it's ever going to grow out of that canyon?
I mean, it could, but the thing is just we don't have a spot. We've looked, and to stay in Southern California and Orange County, especially just because it's kind of in the middle of everything. Yeah. I mean, unless you go to like a fairgrounds or something, which again, it's going to be more of a parking lot type feel, asphalt, all that.
Yeah.
We don't have a spot, and the people that do those shows like ours out in the Inland Empire, like out in Riverside and those spots, people don't want to go out there. Location is everything. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
We've talked about like down in San Diego, like at Del Mar Fairgrounds or something, which Biltwell's doing the thing out there now, kind of taking that over, even though it's in January, different times of the year. I don't know, man. It's just something about that place, the writing and the spot, it kind of is what it is. And, we don't, we're not chasing dollars. So it's not like, oh man, we better move this thing to double down on our attendance. It's just like, it's good if it starts to suffer or, people stop coming or whatever. I mean, maybe we need to retool, rethink, whatever. But, right now, this was our best year ever. I mean, we heard nothing but positivity from, 99% of the people we talked to. Obviously, the weather was a big improvement this year. 75 degrees. It's hard to beat that instead of, 85, 90. So, we're just coming off a good show. So if we moved it, I don't know. I mean, if we found a good spot that could handle a lot more people, maybe. But
yeah,
I feel like we're at where we need to be because, again, if Sunday was Saturday, then we'd be going, oh man, shit, we better rethink this. Because Sunday's still down, probably 20% off of Saturday, maybe 25. There is room, people can, we could grow it through Sunday. It's just, how do we do it? Like I told you, we've been thinking about how to do it. I mean, shit, we've given away 39 knuckleheads, $70,000, $80,000 motorcycles, and it didn't, it is a slight uptick, but didn't go crazy. So if you got any ideas, let me know.
Yeah, I think that there's a psychological thing to it, right? Because most people are trying to add a day or two on the front half of their trip out there to California to Born Free. And then by the time Saturday wraps up and Sunday's around, I think most people that are kind of commuting from out of town or out of state, they're already starting to set their sights on, okay, well, if I leave now, I can be back home, or I'm gonna stay till 3 or 2, and then I'm gonna try to get on the road. And I think you just kind of that get back home starts to set in for people, and I know it has for me in the past. So it's like you got to trick them, You got to trick people to think there's something on Monday so that they look at
Well,
Monday as the end. I have had the pleasure of running Arlen Ness motorcycle products on my Road Glide and now Lowrider ST. From wheels to handlebars and everything in between, Ness has the parts to not only make your motorcycle look badass, but also perform better. A great place to start on your custom journey is with one of the 12 different custom air cleaners Ness provides, giving you options to fit your budget and taste. There is no shortage of killer products for you to enhance your motorcycle riding experience. Head on over to arlenness.com to see the vast parts catalog and drop Bass Life 10 in all caps to save yourself 10% off the entire website. And don't forget to give these guys a follow on the gram at Arlen Ness Motorcycles. Now let's get back to the show.
That's a good idea. You know what the thing, I mean, you do, obviously you know what you're talking about, but what I'm seeing is not the out of towners. I feel like they're there for the long haul.
Yeah.
Most of them, like you said, are either there a few days before or a few days after. It's the locals. So if you live, in Orange County, LA, San Diego, whatever, greater Southern California area, you come party your brains out, see everything you want to see, hang out with your friends, meet people, see all the stuff we posted and everybody else has posted. You want to see it all. Why come back second day?
Yeah.
Especially let's say you live in LA, right? And you're driving, it's 40 miles, but it's 3 hours, or riding. Maybe you're like, I was there Saturday, I saw it all, blew it out. It's awesome. But why come back 2 days in a row? Yeah. So, I mean, I think Sundays are a lot of returning folks from out of town and then maybe people who had to work on Saturday. But, Sunday's Sunday, right? It's always whatever the show is, whatever's going on, unless it's an NFL football game or something, Sundays is always slower for everything.
That makes sense. I didn't
even the start.
Yeah.
Even the start of the show, Saturday by 9 a.m., which we don't even technically open till 10. At night, we had to open at 8 because there was people everywhere. I mean, we haven't had traffic like that backed up that far since like Born Free 6 or something. Yeah. Something happened, so we had to open up at before 9, and by 10 we were at almost capacity.
God damn.
So it was.
I think that,
crazy.
Man, it's
but
just a testament.
Sunday's slow, It's start slower.
It's a testament, man. Like I said, the show has just become the staple of what I think that our generation really wants to get out of an event like that. You feel like you're surrounded by just so much creativity from the type of vendors that are there to the bikes that you're seeing, the different genres of bikes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I brought my wife for the first time this year, and she's been to a handful of shows, and sometimes, she wouldn't care to see another one, to be honest with you, but she enjoyed it. She loved the fact that it didn't feel like it felt like with the vendors, you could go get you a cool exhaust system or whatnot, but you could also find some cool handmade stuff that the chicks are into and whatnot. You know what I mean? So she really enjoyed it.
I mean, we like I think I told you before, and it's not just me, but my partner Grant, Lisa Ballard handles our vendors, and we really try to get the best vendors that we can get, not just fill spaces, and make sure we try to, have people doing cool stuff, unique stuff, handmade stuff, instead of just, like I've said a million times, the vape pens and all that stuff, which I'm not down on them. I'm just saying we could have 30 of those dudes just to collect money for vendor spots, but we don't do that because it's like, man, we want to try to have, like you said, you go there. Yeah, you might go get a Simpson helmet or an exhaust system from whoever, but then go into the vendor area and find some turquoise ring some chick made, and get it for a gift for your gal or, your dude or whatever. I mean, there's just like, we really try to make sure that there's some really cool vendors in there, which, sometimes it pisses people off because they go, hey, I want to get a spot. And we're like, hey, we already have, 8 leather guys, like add one more. It doesn't work. I'd rather add something else that's different. So we do our best. It's not perfect, and we can't please everybody, which we do try, but especially Lisa, God bless her. She kills herself and she takes everything personal. So if anybody's listening, please give nice. That. She's a saint. Give her a break. She cares about every single person out there. And sometimes we got to be the hammer and say, no, she feels terrible about it, but kind of is what it is. But
I think people should probably understand that, like, what you're actually doing here is you're creating experience. You're curating an experience. And so if you looked at, the same way if you put a magazine together, the advertising that you choose to allow in the magazine also give a feel of what that magazine is. And I would say the same thing to your show. So if you brought a whole bunch of just big money swinging things that are just kind of looking for a place to throw their money, yeah, they might sell their vape pens or they might sell their motorcycle insurance. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's a wasted space. There's no interaction there. There's nothing I can gain from this. There's no, man, I'm immersed in the culture of this kind of vibe, So
yeah, it's like going to a good swap meet. You go to a good swap meet and there's whatever, new, old, don't matter, and there's 50 killer vendors or whatever, and you're like, oh man, what a great swap meet. Or you go to a swap meet and there's like 5 good dudes and 400 just take off exhausts that no one wants, right? Just every kind of bad part that the dealers can't get rid of is there. And that's kind of like the way we treat the vendor area. Look, we'd rather have those quality, good, unique vendors versus just quantity. So that's it. That's the end of that.
Yeah, man. So like, the San Diego Customs Dyna FXR, all that stuff was a hit this year. There's a lot of great bikes. Yeah, man, I can't praise it enough. I've been telling people that just in the circles that haven't made it to Born Free or whatnot, that like for industry, for our side of the thing, for the guys that are in the motorcycle world that are, builders, painters, parts producers, like I've been telling people, because I believe this, that I think that there's a better chance to network and connect with other brands and people at your show in California than Sturgis. Even though there might be more people at a whole in Sturgis as far as brands, but in one spot, you could be walking around your show and running into Dave Perowitz and Brian Clock, and next thing you know, the owner of Bassani's over there, and then said this guy. It's just like it's all right there, kind of packed in that little canyon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is a good place, and some people take advantage of it, and some people don't. It just depends on what you're there for. But if it were me, and I was, in the space, with parts or accessories or painter or whatever, that's exactly what I'd be doing. Mm-hmm. Because when are you going to get a chance? I mean, a few years back, and Arlen's gone now. Arlen Ness was there. The whole Ness family was there. I mean, right there in front of you. All of the guys were there. You could talk to them, pick their brain, talk about bikes, talk about painting, talk about parts. Like that is not an easy thing to find, especially at those bigger shows where, maybe those guys, Dave Perowitz is in Sturgis, but are you going to see him?
Yeah.
I mean, is that dude there's so many people and maybe those people aren't as accessible either, because we don't treat those people like celebrities, even though we appreciate them and we know they're legends. Like we love them to be there and, thank them and shake their hand, all that. But they're just like regular folks there, where some of these other events, and again, I'm not bagging on, it's like, come see, Billy from Sons of Anarchy. It's like, dude, I mean, he's just some actor cat. We're not going to put that dude up on a pedestal, even though we have those people at Born Free. And it's the same with the builders or painters, new or old. It don't matter if you've been doing it for 50 years or you're a new guy who just building some cool stuff. Like you can just go up to him, say hi, talk to him, man, I love your stuff. Start BS. The next thing you know, you're maybe got a business plan going, or you're working with them on something. So to me, that's the cool thing that sometimes other shows, other whatever, kind of like they don't do that.
Yeah, and
I feel like it should be that way.
Yeah, I mean the whole like come meet this guy, the meet and greet concept. I know that's kind of big in our world, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like just being if everybody's riding motorcycles, then I'd rather meet people on motorcycles or within that motorcycle, not like sitting across the table signing autographs. You know what I mean? So it's hard to have a personal conversation that way. But
and these are just people too. We got to remember, like, again, the motorcycle world, it's big and to us, but in the big picture, most people don't even know who any of these people are, including me, you, anybody else. Like they don't know who we are. It's nothing, right? So let's just have fun and treat it like a big family and then enjoy everything that's there and not act like it's something so crazy special. It's just, it's just motorcycles.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, as we kind of like are counting down the days now to Born Free Texas, I wanted to pick your brain on like some of the, I guess how I would frame it is, last year we did the podcast together and we talked about kind of like what your predictions were. And I kind of wanted to start this off by finding out how that transpired in your eyes for Born Free Texas won. I don't know how you're gonna like number these or how you're gonna do that, but basically last year's Born Free in Texas.
Yeah, so last year, we went in real easy because we didn't know what to expect, and we relied heavily on the folks at Yellow Rose Canyon, which did an amazing job for what they knew, right? Mm-hmm. So we certainly had challenges. We had growing pains, all that, but if you don't know, you don't know, and we do know now. So there was definitely some things that we've fixed and corrected, and I'm only going to say this now, that way we can move on and talk about all the fun stuff. Is that last year, if anybody went and waited in line and all that, the waivers and all that crazy stuff, that's just what had to happen last year. We've since, after meeting and talking and figuring out a better method, all of that has been fixed. Yeah. So just saying up front before, and then we can move on, is that there will be lines, because you're turning in off a Canyon Road again, just like Born Free California. You're making a turn one way or the other. There's oncoming and going traffic. There's just no way to avoid it. And if you get several thousand people at anywhere, there's going to be some downtime. However, there won't be those long wait times, because all of our pre-sales, let's get some of this housekeeping out of the way right now, is that all of that stuff is done online. So if you're buying any kind of pass, and we'll cover that later, when you do that online, your waiver and all that is done then. And the reason the waivers are there is because in Texas, and we learned all this, is that the alcohol stuff at a private club, you got to sign something to get to that area where the alcohol is.
Yeah.
Having said all that, when you purchase your stuff online, whether you're going for the day or the week or the 4 days or whatever it is, it's all done online. You won't be waiting on that. So we're going to try to get folks in as quick as possible. If you've got a pre-done wristband that you bought online or whatever, you're going to come in as fast as humanly possible. We've also increased staff, which again, we didn't know, right? We've increased food, we've increased alcohol and all that, which last year it was insane. And if you got there early and you did it right, majority of the people had a blast. That's all we heard. I had the best time I've ever had at any show myself. I loved it there. I love the people. I love the vibe, the casualness. Ride your motorcycle around anywhere you want without us yelling at you to get off your bike. Stay all night without us yelling you, hey, get out of here, we got to pump the toilets. All the stuff that we do in California, we didn't have to do there. I mean, I literally had
downtime.
The best time I've had in a long time. Met tons of cool people from the area as well as other states close by. Just, it was not anything like I've ever experienced running a show. And we know year one you can get away with a lot of stuff. Hey, we use excuse. We didn't know. We tried. We did our best. Shit, we're out of food. Sorry. We're going to do the best job we can this year, working with the Yellow Rose Canyon folks and then bringing up some of our own staff and all that to really make it work better. Again, it's still number 2. Born Free 2 in California we had 6 toilets and 5,000 people, right? We didn't have anything we needed, but it was, people say it was the best show ever. So we're hoping and we're trying to improve on what we did last year, make sure that everybody who's spending the nickel there gets the best experience they can. But there's still going to be some growing pains. Yeah. We're trying to, do everything we can ahead of time to make sure, again, that we can get folks in as fast as possible, make sure they have the best experience and all that. So we're working on that still. It's still in a work in progress, and hope folks know that. But all the things that we could fix last year, we are fixing this year. Now, new things may come up. We'll have to fix them for year 3, but we're committed to that place and putting on a great show there. As you know, the show went from 2 days to 4 days. So we're trying to create more of that, kind of the Sturgis feel, festival feel. You can come, especially if you're coming from far away. And the other thing I realized as going there last year for the first time is that it is far. It's in the middle of nowhere, kind of out of the way. So, if you're in Dallas or whatever, it's 3 hours, and wherever else you're far. Yeah. So we're trying to give you more time to get there, more time to stay there, more time to enjoy the event.
Kind of relax. Yeah.
We're going to, exactly. And, some of the good swap meets that guys go to, like Davenport, Wasion, those are all vintage meets, but a lot of people know them. Those meets are like 4 or 5 days long. And even though this is a show and a swap meet and racing and bands and all that, it just feels like if it's longer, like 4 days, so it's a little less pressure for everybody. So that was the idea. 4 days. So it's 4 full nights, 4 full days. If that's what you're into, you don't have to, but that's the way we have it set up. Gives the chance of vendors to make some more money because gives them more time to sell their stuff. It also gives them more time to relax, go out and do other things. If you want to go sightsee, go on a motorcycle ride, come back. You're not in this pressure like, oh shit, I got to be open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. or I'm not going to sell a t-shirt. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the whole thing should be at a more relaxed state. Although we are going to try to give everybody as much bang for the buck as we can. With the bike show, with the bands, the nighttime, which we're going to go completely over the top of the nighttime. The bar shouldn't close until legally it needs to close. So there's going to be bands at the bar every night, which we didn't have last year. Obviously, we're not going to run out of beer, booze like we did last year. We're not going to run out of food, coffee, breakfast, all that. So essentially, from the time you get there, if you get there Thursday until Sunday night, when it's basically over, you go home Monday if you want. We'll have everything going. We're not going to shut down or anything like that. So even though things may slow down and it may not feel as exciting, because obviously the first 2 days are always going to be the craziest ones.
Yeah,
we're still going to give folks things to do for those 4 days and nights. And that includes like Wall of Death will perform at night, which they did last year on Saturday. It was insane. I saw it. We're hopefully going to be able to do that at least 3 of the nights besides the day. Like I mentioned, the bar, which has expanded and gotten a lot bigger, the beer garden area out front of the bar, there'll be bands every night. We're trying to do this movie thing where there's old, biker movies or whatever movies being played in a certain area. So if you want to do that, there'll be that. And just to try to increase everything, we are going to have flat track racing with the mini bike, grand championship, whatever they're calling it, which is this big $10,000 prize for pull start minis. But we are adding like real racing as well. The dirt drags will be going off. Obviously the AMCA swap meet is coming back, and that'll be a full 4 days. So it'll give you time to, go buy some stuff, look at some stuff, whatever. So just try to increase the whole thing for 4 days. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's changing, and this is really the only way to do this, is that the official show day, and that's the San Diego Customs Performance Show, which they're calling it. We're not calling it FXR or Dyna, nothing. It's just a performance show, will be on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So the event is 4 days, but if you want to come for 1 day only, Saturday will be the blowout day.
Nice.
Everything that can't happen 4 days, just for whatever reason, will happen all on Saturday. So Saturday, the main bands will be on the big stage all day, and then again continue at night at the bar. The FXR show with whatever I said it again. The performance show will be Saturday with awards and all that good stuff. Whatever we do as Born Free for awards. We did it last year. We didn't do it on stage because we just felt like we couldn't capture the audience. So what we did is we just went around handing out awards, putting them on bikes, that kind of thing. So it was more low key, but folks did come up to us and thank us for the awards. We're not sure how we're going to do that this year yet. There will be awards, whether we do a full stage presentation or we just do like we did last year. We're still working through that, but racing will be definitely Saturday and Sunday, possibly Friday. Dirt drags will be going on at least Saturday and Sunday, if not Friday as well. Obviously, swap meet, like I mentioned, 4 days, food, drink, all that 4 days. So we're still working and adding. We're trying to get more people to come to the party and bring their own thing. We're working with Carrie at Choppers Magazine to create this Choppers Magazine. I don't know if you want to call it rodeo, sideshow, whatever that looks like, whether it's a chopper show inside the event that's curated by them or mechanical bulls or, whatever. So we're working with people like that still to try to create these new, unique activations. Becky Goebel, the Axel Hideout thing with all the girls that was at Born Free in California is coming there as well. And it'll be a lot bigger activation. So we'll have that. Just a slew of other things. So we're trying to give folks as much entertainment as we possibly can. But on the other side, too, it is a big camp out. So if you just want to, and I saw this last year, you just want to sit in your campsite and party with your friends and BS and play the banjo and read a book and take a nap, you could do that at the event, which I think is so cool. I mean, last year in the RV area, there were a bunch of older guys I met that had insane choppers, knuckleheads, all the stuff that they've had since the late 60s, early 70s. They never even left their campsite.
Thundermax is and has been my go-to for my fuel-injected Harleys since 2015. The T-Max module is designed to provide your fuel-injected Harley with proprietary auto-tune technology, allowing you the ability to add future performance upgrades to your motorcycle without having to go to a dyno for tuning. These tuners are worth their weight in gold. Head on over to thunder-max.com to get yourself dialed in with the T-Max tuner and drop the Fast Life offer code, which will save you 10% on your purchase, and give my guys a follow on the gram at thundermaxefi. Now let's get back to the show. Yo,
Trying to get, come down to the bowl, bring your bike down there, let everybody see it. No, man, we're just hanging out. We're having a good old time like it's, 1975, cooking hot dogs and drinking beer and BSing. It was like this group. It was awesome. So I think there'll be a little bit there for everybody. If you want to go and see all the folks and shake hands and party and look at bikes and get all into it, there'll be that. If you just want to lay in a hammock, in the trees and just, jump in a pond, you could do that too. So I think, again, we're trying to improve it. We're working on it. We're throwing everything at it. It's still going to take some time, but it should be something for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And that's obvious. I mean, like I said, when, one of my questions was going to be the decision to, go from 2 to 4 days. And I mean, you pretty much answered it, but that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like with the commitment and the drive and kind of like the end of the year kind of blowout party kind of vibe, you know what I mean? That it just lends itself to be that. And with it being in the middle of the country, it's pretty much accessible from all corners. I do think it gets pretty rough up north to ride down, but I felt like we saw a lot of people from up north last year. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, to your point, like I drove 3 days to get there. So if I was just going to the show and I drove 3 days and then just had to stay a day or two, I probably would, oh man, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can do that. And I get it. You have to take a lot of time off for the show and people do it. And like you said, it's kind of into summer, early fall, blowout, last kind of show of the year kind of thing for the most part. But being able to, if you are driving a day or two or longer, being able to stay longer, I don't know. To me, that's a little more attractive. I mean, obviously you don't have to. Yeah. And there are people that are flying into Dallas, renting a car, getting a bike and riding to the show and staying a day, going home. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all good too. But to me, if you can stay longer, get more opportunity to see and talk to people and hang out and do your thing. I mean, that sounds fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I like the idea of the bar thing. I mean, unfortunately, last year I was sick. I was in the tent the whole time. Probably COVID, probably something else. I don't know. But I mean, it was kind of awesome hearing everybody have fun all night through the tent walls, basically. But yeah, I just wore myself thin last year. I mean, I did a run to Terra Lingua that one of my buddies puts on the weekend before, and then coming home and kind of just everybody was starting to show up into Dallas to get ready for the pre-party to go to Born Free. So it was like, I'm like podcasting 2-3 times a day, then trying to put the show together at Strokers for the pre-party, and then turn around and ride. I just wore myself out. And pretty much put myself in bed the entire time I was there, which I hate. But I don't know, man. Everybody that from my world, my friends, my crew, they all had a blast. And I think that this year, if the numbers don't double, man, I would be surprised 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we're obviously hoping and planning for that. Which again, it's hard to plan and budget for something when you really don't know what to expect. Born Free in California, we do know what to expect, even though it could be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, whatever. But we know we basically know what we're in for. There, we really don't know. And it was an experiment last year. We're going to go off of the idea of potentially the attendance doubling or getting close to that. So that's what we're planning for. Mm-hmm. But we don't know. But just like you said, I mean, we did get some bad feedback, I will tell you. But mainly it was from those folks who showed up at noon on Saturday, right in the heat of the thing, right in the heat of the show, when we had to do the waiver, stop everybody in the street, wristband them, pay them, all this crap. So my suggestion to anybody who's listening, and we're putting this out and we're going to put it out even more, is that buy your pass online. You're going to save money. You're going to save time. You're going to save everything.
Yeah.
And get there early.
Yeah.
Get there early. Now, if you can't do all that, I get it. You can't do it. You're just general admission. Your day of. Do what you got to do. But if I were doing this and if I were there last year, maybe got caught up in some of that stuff. And I know some people got caught up in traffic, got pissed and turned away and left. But get there early.
Yeah.
You know, the good news about the 4-day is that if you come on Thursday, we already know Thursday is going to be a little lighter. It's the first day. It's already in still during the week. Get there Thursday. You're going to have a problem. Get there Friday. You're not going to have a problem. Get there Saturday early. If you show up Saturday at 10 a.m., I guarantee you there's still going to be lines of people out in the street because you just cannot bring that many people in a car, in a bike, in a motorhome, whatever, on any property that fast. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
So, the takeaway is, do your thing online, get there early. We're given a bunch of different options. And that was the other thing I just wanted to cover, because when we first announced the admission maybe a month ago, we didn't do a very good job of explaining it. I will tell you, and it was coming right off of Born Free California. So you still have that hangover. You're trying to get this new info out there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, immediately took to Instagram because that's what people do. It's, oh my God, they're charging twice as much money. And what the hell? You guys are gouging California prices, all this crazy stuff. It's like, if you took the time to look at it, you'd realize that that's not the case. In fact, it's cheaper this year than it was last year, whether you're doing general admission, which is just day of. So just day of, you show up, you didn't buy anything online, it's less than last year. If you're doing the weekender pass, it's less than last year. And if you're doing the full 4 days, if you add up the days, it's less than last year. I think it's like $20 or maybe 30, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, but you're getting a lot more. So every option down the line is actually less than last year. And you're going to get a better experience because we're throwing a lot more at this event. I think there's like maybe 12 bands or 15 bands already lined up. And beyond all the other things we talked about, the show within the shows, Choppers Magazine, San Diego Customs, your thing, Axel's Hideout. We're trying to get some freak show, sideshow thing going on, the movie nights, the racing, all the Wall of Death and swap meet, everything else we've talked about. You're going to get more value for your money this year than you did last year, and you're paying less. So people need to really okay, let me look at this harder. Yeah. So again, up for the day, great. Buy general admission online, so you don't have to wait as long. We're going to offer that. You want to do the 2-day pass? We got that. You want to do the full 4-day pass? We got that. Just plan to figure out what you want to do and do it. And then that way you've done everything you can do. We're trying to do everything we can do to get you in there as fast, give you the best experience possible. And then you go home going, oh shit, this was awesome.
Yeah. And Pete, I think
anybody could screw up anything. I've done it before, like going to a concert, get there an hour late and just be in line, traffic getting in, waiting in line. And then I'm thinking to myself, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Why didn't I come 3 hours earlier? And it's my fault. I'm not saying this is the folks' fault last year, but we all have to work together to make this work. And so do your part, and we're going to do everything we can to do our part.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to say. I definitely wanted you guys to touch on that because I seen the memes going around and it's been a topic conversation at the local bike nights and whatnot. But I always saw it as whether they thought it was I think the consensus was they doubled the price. It's like, well, they added more days. Like, it's a longer event. It's a more immersive event now. So it's like, what I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting at a bar with dudes that are dropping $120 every Tuesday on beer. So it's like, bro,
no, for sure, and what people don't realize, and again, this is just part of doing an event. It's not crying the blues or woe is me, but when you tell a security company that you could have 3,000 to 5,000 people, even if everybody's on their best behavior and we're having church and just eating popcorn and hot dogs, they do not bid the job that way. They're saying, well, look, we cannot have 6 people there with that amount of people.
Yeah.
So your security costs go from $2,200 to $26,000.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. So last year was like $2,400. for 2 days with 4 or 5 security guards. This year it's $26,000.
Damn.
And I'm only saying that so people get a perspective. But again, back to that sitting in a bar talking about the price, they doubled it. You don't have to go 4 days.
Yeah.
You don't have to go 3 days. You don't have to go 2 days. But if you want to go 4 days, it's $20 less than it was last year if you take the 2 days and then you go to 4 days. I know and that there's other events that are a 2 day event that are more money than ours for 4 days, and you're getting less.
Yeah.
You don't have proper bike shows. You don't have racing. You don't have a swap meet. You don't have a bar with bands all night. You don't have food. You don't have all this stuff, and it's more money. I get it. You know, today's economy could be rough on some folks, and spend $120 on a 4 day camp out. You know, it's not for everybody, but if you break that down, you know, you're talking about $30 a day to get all what we've just been talking about. It's not that much money. When I went to Carl's Jr. the other day and spent $38 on 3 people, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that much money. And I get it. You know, if it ain't for you, it ain't for you. But there's always the Saturday only. Hey, you just want to spend $25, which is more than fair. Come on in, stay all day Saturday, come 6 in the morning or 8 in the morning, stay till 7 o'clock at night, go home, get your money's worth. But when you're going to do 4 days or 3 days, I mean, we have to charge a certain amount to cover just the toilets and the security and all of the other stuff. We're not getting that place for free either, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're paying a good amount of money, and those folks have to put in a lot of time to get that place prepped for something like this. So again, I don't want to go about, you know, money and this and this and that, but they have to be reasonable and look at what you are going to get for this.
Exactly.
And to me, we're not out of school on this thing. We're not trying to gouge anybody. I mean, last year, I mean, it wasn't even a break even, which again, we don't care about that. We want to build this thing, and it takes time. But this year, I can tell you right now, no one's going home with a nickel. Period. But again, that's not what we're talking about. It's just, that's just reality. I mean, if I told you what we spend at Born Free California to make that show go up, people wouldn't believe us.
What did y'all get attendance for Saturday at Born Free this year? What y'all ended up doing?
We did. We know there was a significant increase, and just for legal purposes, I won't give you the exact number, but we definitely had a bigger number for sure. But again, when you have more people,
the cost of everything else goes up.
Absolutely. And when these entities that we hire see that, they increase their prices significantly, you know, and it can even change to the next day. So when our security's there and they go, well, shit, there was a lot more people there today, they have to increase the number for the next day, even though we may not get the same amount of people. That's the way they work. And same with parking attendants. They go, oh man, we were overrun in the parking lot. We were overrun moving bikes in the show. We need another 8 people. So every bill we get up front is an estimate. And that's the way these people work. I don't blame them. I wish it wasn't like that. But even the sheriffs, it's like it is. And I will tell you, the cost was up 30%. So if we get a 25%, 30% increase of folks, but your costs go up the same, you're not making any extra money.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, last year, we had the fire truck situation on, when they were trying to lot the
at Texas.
Yeah. How did that transpire?
You mean on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no fire. I mean, they do bonfires out there, but it revolves windy around weather conditions. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to be smart. Look, if you're out camping, whether you're in Texas or if you're in the Rocky Mountains, if it's hot, dry, and windy, and you have a campfire, I mean, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. So yeah, I mean, it was no big deal. Again, I don't blame anybody. You have too many beers, you see a bonfire that's already stacked up full of wooden pallets, you try to light it on fire, fire truck comes. It wasn't a big deal.
It looked like Burning Man.
They came and put the thing out. It was just a smoke fire, and, it was no big deal. But, we definitely have to be mindful that this is somebody's private property. I mean, we got to remember that we're not out in the desert and BLM land and you do what you want. This is Yellow Rose Canyon. These are people's private property that want to hold events here and be successful and be able to hold them. And if you don't follow a few rules, which there's not many, I mean, come on, we got to do that.
Yeah.
So this year, if it's a wetter time, if it's not windy, if it's not hot, we don't know what that looks like. Yeah, we want to have that big bonfire out there.
Nice. So with all,
and hopefully we will.
The pricing thing, that also includes the ability that if someone comes in on like say the 4-day pass, they can just go camp in the woods next to their bike, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's including camping for sure. It's including your admission to get in. If you want to put your bike down in the bowl, which is show admission, which is different than general, it includes that, and it also includes camping. So, and there's shower houses and all that good stuff. So, so you can take a shower if you're just dry camping or whatever. But then there's RV sites. That's extra, and that all goes through Yellow Rose. It's just part of the deal. Yeah, it's a 4-day, essentially all access when you're there. That includes all the bands. That includes the Wall of Death. That includes all the little side shows we talked about, the shows within the shows. There is no, racing. You want to watch the dirt drags, the flat track, go to the swap meet. There's no a la carte in there. So once you pay whatever you're getting, the 2-day, the 4-day, the day of, whatever, it's all of that.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a win, man. I feel like you come in on Thursday and you technically don't have to leave till Monday morning or Saturday or Sunday night. And basically you get.
Technically it's Monday. If you come in Thursday for the full experience, I think they call it the All Access Band. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me, but that you can come in Thursday morning and you can leave Monday.
Yeah.
At your leisure. You know what I mean? That's and the difference here. And I heard a little chatter on Instagram. I don't read all that crap because it just drives you crazy. But it's like. It's more than Born Free California and you're getting less. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but at Born Free, we have to let them in a little bit early because of traffic. But at 5 o'clock, they're rousting folks to get out of there because we got to reset. We got to clean up trash. We got to pump toilets. So there is no like, oh, let me hang out and linger and have a beer and BS with my buddies and stare at bikes and talk about all that. No, you're out of there as fast as the security and the sheriffs can get you out.
Yeah.
This is not that. This you can stay up all night long, and I know people did. You can go cabin to cabin to cabin. We're having parties all night.
Yeah, RV sites, campsites. Yeah,
RV sites, campsites. The bar, like I said, it's going to stay open. I don't know what the legal hour is in Texas. I'm assuming it's 2:30 or 2.
Yeah. But
that thing will be going inside and outside until that time. So. It's essentially the show doesn't close.
Yeah.
So you're there 24 hours, 4 days in a row.
It's kind of like some festivals, So like you had mentioned earlier.
Pick it up per hour and tell me if that's not a value compared to our show in California or other shows. And it is. And I think, I get it, dude. The guy's first initial thing, especially if they're hating on stuff as they start I've done it. You start, oh man, whatever, it's too expensive, California, blah, blah, blah. But dude, you got to sit back, digest it for a second, take it all in, and think. I don't have to leave.
Yeah,
I could ride my motorcycle around all day and night if I want to.
Yeah, or you can go get one hotel room.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. I mean, there's a lot to do. If it's not for everybody, it's not for everybody. I feel like it is. If you're into that stuff, if you're into camping and biking and hanging out and partying and seeing bands and bikes and BS and all, I don't see how you aren't going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And, it's like-minded folks, right? And it's definitely a younger group compared to some of the other stores, just like we talked about. Technically, it could get older.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a funner, younger group. But shit, man, we just want people to come and have fun, and we're always trying to improve. And we're always looking for advice if it helps from anybody. But we do have to, we have to make sure we're charging enough to make this thing, go with what we have, the services and everything I mentioned. We have to cover those costs. I don't
Yeah.
care if we make one nickel. I don't care. It ain't about that, and that's the absolute truth. But we got to make sure Yellow Rose gets paid, security gets paid, toilets get paid, rental, service, everything else gets paid. Has to be paid.
Yeah.
And if we lose money, we lose money. But we want to make sure those folks are taken care of.
Yeah, and that's the premise of any event. I mean, like you guys started Born Free originally very small, and it grew into this, and all the experience that you've had and the way that you've curated the California Born Free, that experience is now translating into Texas, and it's like I feel like you have such a great head start than if this was just like your first time ever doing something. And I said this last year, knowing Oliver and the crew out there at Yellow Rose Canyon, I was excited for you guys to come out and kind of bring this expertise that you guys have developed into that area. You know what I mean? Not to downplay them at all, but just, California is a well-oiled machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's going to take time to get it a little more well-oiled, but we also want to keep it loose and raw because that way people could do things. And not everything is a rule or don't do this or don't do that or you can't, you know what I mean? Like right now, pretty much you can do anything you want there. As long as you're not hurting anybody, pretty much do anything you want. And we encourage folks to come do something. I mean, if you want to have a jam out in the woods with your buddies and play music and, throw axes, I mean, it's pretty much you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it could be that. And we encourage folks to come and have fun and do something cool. And if you want to do something a little more, on the schedule or above board, I mean, just hit us up and say, hey, this is what I do. Whatever it is, I hula hoop, on 1 foot for 7 hours, world record, and come do it.
Yeah.
We're at our show, we can't do it. We don't have the time. We don't have the space, the manpower. This right now is a very raw event, which we could do anything we want to do. And, the other thing that I mentioned, there's those ponds, there's swimming holes, there's that big slip and slide thing. There's all kinds of that kind of fun, so.
And the weather,
it's a big picnic.
Yeah. The weather in Texas in October is pretty consistent over the last couple of years as far as being perfect camping weather and not too hot, not too cold, 80s in the day, sometimes 70s, high 50s at night. So kind of the best.
It was awesome. It was awesome last year. I mean, I wore pants around the whole time instead of shorts like I normally do. And I mean, the only thing on Sunday it got windy, and it is what it is. It can't stop the wind, but we are doing things. We're doing things different this year. It's a different layout. We went off of what they suggested last year for what we thought we were going to do, pull off, and what we thought would work the best. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't ideal. But now we've got a little bit of a foothold in there. We know the layout. I'd never even been to the site before. I didn't know what it looked like. So now, where we had our vendors up top, which we thought would be a great visible spot for those folks and they would do better, we've moved that. Now it's down by the wall of death, down there in that green pasture, which was not affected by the wind. Even when it got extremely windy on Monday, when the show was over, we went down there and there was no wind down there. Yeah. It was up on that top of the rim where you get the wind. So we're going to have our big vendor village down there. I'm talking about straight up vendors, not the sponsors. I mean, we've already got, I think, 55 or 60, which is more than last year.
Nice.
So that area is going to be good, and and they can camp in their spot. It's going to be busy down there. We got the wall of death next to it, and then adjacent to that, further, I don't know my directions, but maybe west something will be the racetrack. So that'll be going on, and then the swap meet will be in between. So down in that lower zone, which is greener and less windy, there'll be a lot of action. Down in the bowl itself, the wind wasn't as strong as it was up on the rim. So we're going to have the our main sponsors who want to be down there, and the builders and all that stuff, kind of like we did last year. The show area will be down the bowl. So the only thing that's going to change, because it's Saturday only, is we are going to have the performance show, the San Diego Customs Performance Show, up top where the vendors were. So as soon as you roll in, and this is easier for the folks that are participating in the show, want to put their bike in the show, it's right there. It's right in your face. It's visible. It's twice the size as it was last year. It'll be signed and coordinated off, and you'll be able to really see it. So there's the performance show, and that's Saturday only. From 10 to 5, boom, that's over, and then the rest of everything will go on in the other parts of the show. But we just felt like that would be the best spot for that. Instead of having folks driving around or riding around on their bike trying to figure out where to go, as soon as you come in, you see it.
Yeah. So other than that, are you going to have anything in that space throughout the other time of the event? Where the vendors were last year?
No, not really. I mean, there could be some food or drink or whatever, but that'll just, because that show is only Saturday.
Yeah.
They're going to set that up earlier, and I think they have their own vendors, or they're working on that, or we are working on that. So if there's any vendors that may want to be in that performance area for Saturday, we could certainly work on that. But no, because technically when you ride in, it's right next to the cabins. It's normally parking. So for any other event they have out there, that's just parking, bike parking. But because we want to make this very visible and still have some life up on top for Saturday, and that's what they want to do, that we just figured that would be a good spot for that.
Nice. No, that'll be cool.
It also overlooks the bowl, and it's a quick shot down the bowl, right? So there's an access point. So if you're up there, you're looking at the performance stuff, you're checking all that stuff out. And you're more than welcome to, when we figure out what you're doing, to be up in that zone for Saturday. Anywhere else is fine for the rest of the event. I mean, that's just what I talked about with those guys, and they felt it would be the best move,
Nice.
And we'll see how that works. But down in the bowl will definitely be a lot of action. Obviously, the bands, the big bar down there, all the food trucks, the builder bikes, the invited builder guys that are setting up their own booths or whatever, that kind of thing. So kind of like what we did last year, but we want to try to space it out a little bit more so there's more going on everywhere. So if you are, not all in just in one area, we want to make sure folks are getting around.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I feel like with the additional things, I mean, we've had a lot of positive feedback and whatnot for our FXR tour that we're, it's in conjunction with, Born Free Texas. And I mean, we have so many people that are looking at meeting us in Durango and making this pilgrimage across, the center of the country down there to Yellow Rose Canyon. And we're pretty overwhelmed, but at the same time stoked about, bringing this whole thing together that we started at back in January at this event. So, I mean, it's kind of it's a scary feeling, and I'm sure you're familiar with that, putting on these big events that you have been doing over the years, you and Grant.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we appreciate what you're doing, and I know you're getting a lot of traction. It's going to be fun. So I don't know how all that works. We haven't really got to all the brass tacks. I know we're going to get with that after we get off the call, but whatever you guys want to do, however you see fit. If you want to be up in that top area on Saturday morning, lined up next to the performance show so everybody can see what's going on. I don't know if you got signage or sandwich boards or any of that stuff. You're more than welcome to do that there for sure to create this more, performance zone, or you could be down in the bowl set up like you were last year and do whatever you want to do. So that's the good thing about this place, is that because we're not, we've got all the space we need. You can spread out. You can do whatever you want, and we can get with that, again, off air. But whatever you see fit, whatever works the best for you guys, we want that.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome, and I'm really excited. It's like I said, man, it's just been a long time coming this year. It feels like, but yeah. Damn, I had another question about some things. So, y'all recently just posted online on the Born Free Instagram, kind of like an overhead view of the entire grounds, to give people kind of an understanding of where areas are what and what's going to kind of be happening in there. And if I'm not mistaken, back towards the swimming pond, there's another stage back there, right?
Yeah, there's a small stage back there. And last year there were supposed to be some little bands, kind of, makeshift guys just jamming out right there. We're thinking about that again if we can get it, but because we're focusing so heavily on that bar area to give people that nightlife that we want, the welcome party on Thursday night. Yeah. There's some other thing going on Friday night, another party. I can't remember what it is. We're going to release all the info, and there will also be a big schedule of events, and there'll be a QR code, which I don't know shit about QR codes, but I know people do it. So when you get there, it'll be on all the posts or telephone poles or areas. You just scan that, and it'll tell you who's doing what time that is. So if there's some,
that's cool.
Band you might want to see, once we announce bands, you'll say, hey, 9:00 at the bar.
Nice.
Or, hey, I want to go check out, some movies, or, go hang out or what time is the Wall of Death happening? Okay, 8:00 Friday night, Wall of Death. And there was a band at the Wall of Death last year. Actually, there might have been two. I can't remember who it was, but it was awesome, dude. I was there. It was killer. It was magic. There were people out there dancing around. Then you went in the Wall of Death at night. They're going crazy. I mean, it was very special.
Nice.
And if anybody was around there, they probably feel the same way. And if you weren't, you should have been. But we're going to have all of that stuff set up so you'll know what to do, where to go if you want to see any of that stuff. But to your point, yeah, there is a little stage, which we welcome anybody to want to do anything there. We were thinking about maybe playing those movies there, but that's not a definite. We're not really sure. We just want to make sure we're giving folks enough stuff organized to do if that's what they want to do. Again, they might just want to go camp in the woods, hang out with their friends, drink or not, bullshit, hang out, just like enjoy each other without being forced to leave all the time.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually
like at our other event. I'm not saying anybody else, but like even at our other event, you're constantly in a state of looking at the watch, going, only got an hour left. Oh man, it's like this is not that. This is all day, all night.
Yeah, I remember last year at Born Free, Texas, that like you were here. I was hearing rumors that like even the town closest, Henderson, was running out of beer for people going out there to buy up all the stuff that was in the gas stations and grocery stores.
Yeah, no, they were for sure. And that, I mean, the cool thing again, because it's Texas, you can bring your own beer, right? If this was California, you couldn't do that. So if you're camping, if you got an RV spot, if you're just dry camping and you get your cat, you can go to Walmart, Costco, whatever you want to do, bring as much shit as you want to bring, right? And do whatever you want to do, which is pretty cool because most shows, including ours, you can't bring your own beer in there. You can't bring your own shit in there because we need the food vendors to do well, which they're still going to do fantastic in Texas. Don't get me wrong. But we don't allow that. This place, you can bring in all your own stuff. You can set up camp, be there for 4 days, and never have to leave, never have to buy anything if that's what you choose. Yeah. If you want to come in lean and mean on your chopper, and then you want to eat pancakes in the morning and drink coffee and then eat, chicken fingers for lunch and steak for dinner and go to the bar and spend $500 on booze, you could do that too. And there are people that do it. That's what I would do because, to me, that's what I would do, right? But
yeah.
That's just me. But there's all the options. So if you want to do the other, you want to do one or the other, hey, it's all there for you. So that to me also makes it pretty cool. So you don't have to think, well, shit, I had to pay all this money to get in, and now they're charging me $10 for a beer. Go bring what you want in, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean it's open for you to kind of make it how you want to live it. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. Yep. You can cook your own food. And you can bring your own little barbecue and do all that good stuff. Again, the campfire thing, we don't know what that looks like. I would suggest no. So don't plan on bringing firewood. But you're just bringing your own grill to cook your own food. Absolutely, 1,000% knock yourself out.
Mm-hmm. So bar setup is dialed. You're going to have an outdoor part of that bar as well, so people can kind of have, because that bar was packed last year, I believe, right?
It was, and they had to shut down, and they didn't have enough bartenders and all that, which again they didn't know. But we're going to simplify things this year. There may be live music inside the bar. I'm not sure about that. I think that's what I heard, but definitely outside the bar there'll be a stage there. There'll be a beer garden there and a whiskey garden. We brought in a new sponsor, American Metal Whiskey, which is part of American Metal Customs. Nice. They're our official whiskey hard alcohol sponsor this year, which we don't even have hard alcohol in California. It's just beer, right? So now we have an ability to have a real bar inside, which you can get whatever you want, right? And then the other bars are set up, down in the bowl, and then the one next to the stage outside at the bar, the beer garden, the bar. That'll be pretty basic there. Mm-hmm. Probably just the whiskey with some simple whiskey drinks. But the idea is that now you have options. So if you're not the guy bringing in 2 cases of beer to hang out in your camp, and you want to come in and get a drink, and which is fun, bands are going, your BS and all that. We'll have all that. So there'll be that. There'll be more food trucks set up. There'll be more coffee. I know that was the thing last year. It's like, how do you run out of coffee? And these food truck people, it's like We ran out, so we left. I'm like, that's not acceptable. You don't do that. You don't run out of coffee and then leave.
Yeah.
But we weren't, everything was really loose and not, we weren't paying attention to everything. We're just kind of going, that ain't happening this year. We're not running out of food. We're not running out of coffee. We're not running out of beer. We're not running out of whiskey. We're not running out of any of that. Nice. So again, we're fixing what we could fix last year. And then I'm sure next year, you and I will be having this conversation and going, oh man, well, we got to, we have to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think
the idea is that we're trying, we're doing everything we can that we know about to make this go good.
So one of the last questions I kind of had on this deal was obviously Born Free California. And I think I asked you this last year as well, leading up to this, but is there plans at some point in the future to start bringing the invited builder built for this event thing to the table, for the future? How you do the invited builders to Born Free every year?
Yeah, absolutely. We were going to do it this year. With all the changes and all the additions and all the things we just went through, we just decided let's not do it this year. Let's do it at 3, set it off proper right after the event. We're gonna announce our invited builders for California before Texas. Right after Texas, we want to announce the invited builders for Texas.
Okay, nice.
Right after the show, November sometime, we want to have and we have to work on that. We don't have that yet. So if you know anybody or anybody's interested, we want to do that. So we definitely want to start incorporating some of the things that are successful in California into Texas. That is one of them, because as many shows as there are out there, and I've said this a bunch, and as great as they are, and they are fantastic, they're fun, I'm not knocking anybody, they're great. No, it's all I'll invite you. Do you have a bike? Submit your bike. It's already done. It was built yesterday or 5 years ago or 100 years ago. They just invite people to come. Born Free in California right now. And as well as I think Virginia City Roundup Carry at Choppers has kind of incorporated that into his event, is that they're getting people to build a bike especially for the show.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging builders, and we still love the do-it-yourself builders, the guys that no one knows about. I know people still get caught up and they see some name, they think of some celebrity. These guys aren't celebrities. And then in California this year, we had more new guys than we've ever had. I think about 22 out of the 28 were brand new. I mean, I didn't even know who these people were.
Yeah.
I was meeting them at the builder meeting for the first time, had no idea who Tommy Boy Speed was, or whoever. I mean, there was a slew of people that I never even heard of. So it was either, hit up Grant or they hit up me, once we talked a little bit, but like never met them in person, never really knew their work that well. We knew that they were capable, and most people are, especially when they get the invite, they know that they got to go above and beyond, and they do. But point being is they were a lot of new folks. And in Texas, we want to incorporate that even more.
Yeah.
We want as many new people building old bikes, new bikes, whatever they want to build as possible. And we'll definitely, for Texas 3, we'll have an invited builder group. Having said all that, we are inviting our previous builders from Born Free California this year, as well as past years. And we do have a handful of them. So if any of those guys are listening and they haven't reached out to us, we're giving them a free spot in the bowl, and they can bring their builder bike again from this year, or could have been 8 years ago. So we want to definitely have a good showcase of builder bikes. But to be honest with you, man, last year I was blown away with the amount of killer bikes that were brought to the show from just regular folks.
Yeah.
There were amazing bikes, killer choppers, killer new bikes, performance bikes. There were a lot of bikes. So there wasn't a shortage like, oh man, I only saw one Panhead or one FXR or one killer bagger. There were a lot.
Yeah, definitely was.
And I assume this year, just, there's going to be more. And that's really what makes to us, that's the fun part. When people you don't know, you never heard of, they're not some hero on Instagram, shows up with whatever they're into. It could be a Honda, it could be a performance bagger, a chopper, whatever, and they bring it, and it's like, oh man, that thing's awesome,
Yeah. So
those dudes, I think they were from Lubbock. It's AJ and his little crew. I don't know if you know those guys or not. They were camped out early. They got there early. Never met those dudes before. Raddest guys in the world. They all had choppers. I think AJ built one for the show, which again we didn't know about. Our buddy Dominic was here from California, who's like an expert mechanic, was over there helping them get it started and run. I mean, it was just this whole thing that couldn't happen at Born Free California. This was like this special little moment of people meet, and I met so many cool dudes, man, from that I never met before last year because I had way more time to hang out and BS.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is that they do rent golf carts. They are expensive, but the golf cart company, they're expensive, right?
Yeah,
they are what they are. But being able to get a golf cart, and cruise around all night. I mean, I was in a golf cart till 2 a.m. on Friday night or whatever. I don't remember what night it was, Friday or Saturday. That's awesome. But if you don't have that, you got a scooter, you got a motorcycle, you got a whatever. You can just ride it around from camp to camp, cabin to cabin, area to area. Shit, man, I'd pay $100 just to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So on what you were just saying about builders, and even if you're not an invited builder, just coming out, like I think that's the best way if you're an up and coming guy that's building to come to these events, show your work, and let people see you in real life, not just on Instagram. And that's how a lot of opportunities get made. And secondly, like the way that you guys have done Born Free California with the invited builders is the same way that Justin and I kind of moved forward with the FXR tours, where we wanted the bikes that were going to be built for this event to be built for this event and never have been seen outside of at any other event or any other show. So every bike that's in our tour started being built this year and will be shown at Born Free Texas, right? So there's no, I finished it for Sturgis, and so I'm also going to bring it to Born Free. You know what I mean? So there's going to be plenty of new bikes that are built for your show, I believe, in a lot of different areas of custom motorcycles. So,
yeah, and we welcome that. We hope that that's the case. I mean, our whole thing is, and it doesn't matter what level you're on too. And I talk to a lot of people. I try to, and I hear all this stuff, and it doesn't matter what level, whether it's your skill level or how much money you have to work to build something, right? It's just get passionate about it and do it and show up. These guys that sit around on the internet and Instagram and hate on everything is like, you're wasting your life doing this shit. It don't do any good. No one cares. Mm-hmm. And quit it. Just get whatever you got. Like I've heard, I'll never have a coolest bike as so-and-so and so-and-so. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Get the bike that you can afford, that you're into, hang out with your buddies, build the damn thing or put it together or whatever your skill level is, ride it to the show, bring it to the show, be proud of it. Talk about, like I mentioned, that AJ kid and his crew. Again, I never met those dudes before. Nicest guys in the world, so appreciative. They were all excited about their bikes. They're riding them around. Dude, I was more excited and happy meeting them and talking with them than seeing some dude bring in, some knucklehead chopper that some, Instagram hero made.
Yeah.
I absolutely 1,000%.
Yeah.
No, I appreciated that bike coming, and obviously the guy, I know the dude, he's rad and cool and all that stuff, but people have to back off all that Insta fame bullshit. Just remember, these are motorcycles. It's fun. It should be fun. Riding them should be fun. Hanging out with people that like them should be fun. Not some competition or some, dick swinging contest or just some like and it's mainly the people who think the guy is too cool to talk to. It's mainly his issue. Yeah. Because most of the people that they think are too cool are actually cool. Mm-hmm. Talk to you and hang out with you and bullshit with you. And, oh man, I love your bike. Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, how'd you do this? Oh, I did it this way. I only know a handful of people that are kind of fit in that dick category. 99% of the people that will come to the show, Texas or California, aren't like that. They're approachable, good people that just have a love for motorcycles and will help pretty much anybody. Whether you're building one or you just want to BS about one. I mean, that's what it's about. And that's what we want to make sure people understand. And I know you're like that. And most folks that we deal with are like that. It's just, hey, let's put as many people on two wheels or even interested in them, even if they can never afford a motorcycle, just have the love for one or the interest. That's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. The hating model is an internal battle that I think people need to realize is internally. You know what I mean? It's not something when you're hating on the dude and their success through social media, first off, you're probably looking at a little bit of smoke and mirrors in that. But yeah, hating, talking shit, people that have had some success on social media, it just sucks, man. Just fucking ride your motorcycle. Just get out of your house.
Exactly. But
get out of your head.
But the thing of it is that if you want that and you don't have it, you can get it. You just have to put in the work. The people that are on there, and look, trust me, there's nothing worse in this world, in my opinion, than to say influencer, right? I hate that word. If you're being influenced by somebody on Instagram, you need to correct your life. Yeah. Now, being inspired by somebody,
exactly,
that's story.
Yeah, I've been
inspired by. I saw Jace's bike, and I saw the paint and the. Dude, oh man, I got to figure out how to get that. I got to figure out how to do it. I want one of those. That's inspiring. But being influenced by somebody, I get it. It's the word that's out there today. I'm 53. I don't need to listen to it. To me, it ain't real. Most of that shit's fake. But I will say that the people that are doing that, a lot of them have put in a shitload of work to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They bust their fucking ass. I've seen it. They don't stop. I mean,
with over 20 years in business, Custom Dynamics has built the largest product selection in the motorcycle lighting game. Superior lighting products supported by top quality customer service, all backed by lifetime warranties. I'm currently running Custom Dynamics all around on my Lowrider ST. Head on over to CustomDynamics.com where they have solutions for both early and late model motorcycles, and give them a follow on the gram at Custom Dynamics.
Becky, that actual chick, which some people love her, some people don't, whatever. She works her. I mean, that chick doesn't stop. This is a lot of work to go to show to show to show and keep being relevant and getting in a new, you get some sponsor that wants to work with you. That shit is not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's a lot of work. And you have to applaud those people and commend those people that are doing that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If I wasn't born free, I'd be doing what I'm doing now. Feeding my cows, like open a store, working my ass off, doing whatever. I don't need Insta fame. To me, I don't care. But the people that are making a living at it or busting their ass at it, I mean, you gotta say, hey, man, hats off to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what people have to realize. It's like, look, they're just real people too. They're busting their ass. If you want that, go get it. You can do it. Yeah. You have to figure out a way. I mean, you look at Instagram. Be somebody weighs 600 pounds. Looks like Jason from Friday the 13th. Playing a banjo with his teeth and has 20 million followers. Mm-hmm. I mean, if that's what you're after, go. You can do it. But again, this is motorcycles. It's fun. It's dangerous. It's exciting. It's cool. Like, yeah. Think about it that way and just do everything. With that mindset is the way I'm looking at it. So even with the show, come to the show to have a good time and meet people. And be who knows what can happen? Shit, you could be inspired. You can get a new job. You might meet somebody. Connect with somebody. Meet a chick. Meet a dude. There's all this stuff that happens. And I know we've talked about this before, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. But our whole thing is just come to have fun. Put the hate away. Get off the fucking phone. Get off the internet. Get off the Instagram. That's not real 90% of the time. And just come out and see people. And then make the decision for yourself. Oh, that dude sucked. Oh, that dude was awesome.
Yeah.
You gotta live it before you can make your decision.
Exactly. And I think that, the chopper world is kind of, on Instagram is kind of like made people shy away from it that may love to be a part of it because they might think of it as being something pretentious because it's so popular or whatever the case may be. But the more and more of the people within that community that's kind of helped build it over the last 20 years, the vintage stuff that's more popular right now is what I'm speaking on. Every time I sit down and meet one of these guys like Max Schaff or Oliver from Cut Rate, like I'm blown away by who they are as people, and it makes sense why the scene is so amazing and has been for so long because of the people that have kind of put in the work to help create it. You know what I mean? You guys are included with the shows that you have put on.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are cool dudes. I mean, Oliver's a really good friend of mine, so is Max. And, on the surface, if you're that guy's, hating everything, you're like, oh, who's this dude? He thinks he's cool, blah, 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 blah. But then when you talk to these people, which you should, and which they will talk to you, you realize, man, that dude just kind of like a normal dude. He just loves motorcycles, and he's pushing the boundaries on what he is into because that's what he wants to do. You know, but I will say this. It doesn't matter if it's motorcycles or anything. Every industry, every clique, or every whatever is exactly the same. I opened up a shop in Oregon, like it's a vintage shop, a lot of clothes and, you know, tchotchkes and collectibles and all that shit. I didn't know about anything about vintage clothes. My kids did. I just get bored, wanted to open a shop. I got some motorcycle stuff in there, you know, Western and Native American things that I like. And it's all old, antique, vintage stuff. People are the exact same in that space. If you get on Instagram and you start following all these people that are selling vintage clothes or anything, they're the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right? There's the cool dudes that everybody thinks cool and put them on a pedestal because they found a pair of Levi's from 1890. And now these guys, which is like finding the, you know, knucklehead, but now this guy found Levi's. It doesn't make him any cooler.
Yeah.
That dude happened to be out in some barn in Idaho digging and found a pair of Levi's.
Yep.
He's the cool guy. It's exactly the same shit. So my point is that all that Instagram stuff and internet stuff, it is what it is. Take it or leave it. Keep it casual. It's not real life for the most part, you know, and just go about your business. But to your point, meeting these guys and talking to them, then make your decision.
Yeah. And that's how everything should be. I mean, social media is literally a curated version of all of our lives that we put out there for you to see. I mean, Facebook, when it first came out, taught us that we don't want to be that crazy couple that's in a new relationship every day. So we started keeping certain things, you know, to ourselves. And Instagram is a more adult version of social media, or at least it was when it started, that we're just going to put the cool shit about our life out there and try to keep some of the other stuff, you know, private. That way we have some sense of like reality to our own lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with that stuff. I mean, you know, Instagram used to be you just see a picture. There was no words. It was just a picture. It's like, oh man, cool. I've never seen a boat like that before. I've never seen whatever you're looking at. Like, oh, it's cool. You know, oh, look at that old Jeep, man. I never even thought about having one of those before.
Yeah.
Now with all the fucking bullshit, you know, the you know, all the stories and then you're alluding to this, like, right? Hey, you post a picture of a airplane and someone thinks, oh, did Jay spy an airplane?
Yeah.
Man, he must have a lot of money. It's like who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, just it should be that way. Just like don't read into it. But I know that there's people, and I know these people that read into it so deep. I'll have people hit me up. You know, I'll post a picture of a dog in my shop. Did you buy another dog?
Yeah.
Some guy came in the shop with a dog. He was drinking some water. I took his picture because I like dogs.
Yeah.
But it's like, why read into it so deep? So again, we don't need to get off on like social media like etiquette, but it's just like half the shit ain't real, and the other half should just be fun in the story.
Yeah, I've actually I missed this era, and I think you had talked about this when y'all started Born Free a long time ago. I'm into blogs right now, dude. Like old school, some pictures, some words, a little bit of a story. I'm into that shit right now. I've been binging a lot of Church of Choppers blog. I'm just enamored with it. I feel like it gives me more substance and something better to consume than doom scrolling on Instagram to see what's the new latest TikTok trend or whatever the fuck's going on. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been trying to get my blog. But I've talked about getting it going again a million times. I just don't have the time, but that was a fun time. I get it. It's all, back then, a bunch of old guys talking about back then. I'm sure nowadays the younger people are thinking, Instagram or TikTok, which I won't ever look at or be a part of, is the coolest thing in the world. But it's just how they communicate, right? It's how they get their information out. It's how they get influence, whatever they want to do. So yeah. I'm all good with all that stuff. My whole point to this is just, don't make that be the deciding factor on a show or a person or anything really. Put the effort into to dig deeper, get to know them, or come or go do what you're going to do to figure out what it's all about before you just on there hating on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
so
can you think of anything else that we need to make sure people know about for Born Free Texas before they,
No, just make sure that that they follow us on Instagram at Born Free Show. That's where all of our information is being posted. We are really going to ramp that up in the next 2 weeks a lot of what we're doing, the bands that are playing, the activities that are going on, all the side shows that I mentioned, the different shows within the show, just like we do in California, all that stuff. We're going to really start hammering that, the admission on how to do it, all the options. So just remember, if you're just seeing 2 options now, which is the longer term camping options, and you feel like you can't afford that or don't want to do that, don't worry. We are going to have general admission pre-sale, which will save you a little bit of money and time. And then we will have general admission day of, Sunday or Saturday only. There will not be general admission for the rest of the days. It makes no sense to do that.
Yeah.
So the official show with all the stops is Saturday. The rest of the time, plenty to do. And we're going to put all that out there, like I said. But if you just want to come for one day, that's it. It's Saturday.
Nice.
And I know that's hard for some people to understand. They're like, well, why is it 4 days if the official show is Saturday? It's like, because we can't do everything we want to do every single day. It doesn't make sense. How do you do awards Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? You can't.
And
you got to pick one day. That's the day. It's Saturday.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions or constructive stuff, hit us up on Instagram. We answer those questions. If you want to be a vendor or a sponsor, Lisa Ballard handles that. The email for her and all that good stuff is on our website, www.bornfreeshow.com. Very simple. Or on Instagram, you can either send a message, how do I be a vendor? And we'll send you the info. Or you go onto our profile page and it'll take you right there.
Nice.
All the admission, just like last year, is handled through Yellow Rose. You can go to their site directly, or you can go to our Instagram profile, click a link. You can go to our website, click a link. But they handle all the admission. And they do a fantastic job of explaining the admission or answering any of your questions. If you want an RV spot, you go through Yellow Rose. Again, same thing I just said. All the cabins are sold out. We'll tell you that. There's no more cabins available. Hotels and all that, Yellow Rose is great at referring folks. Obviously, it's Henderson's close by, but so are several other little towns. And we saw plenty of great hotels last year. People said they were great, clean, new, inexpensive for where they are. Food in town, all that's fantastic. We ate out several nights last year. It was so much fun. So there's a lot going on. There's a Walmart and all that crap close by. If you just want to get there and then go get all your stuff. We're not in the middle of nowhere that much. We're just 10, 15 minutes outside of a normal town.
Yeah.
But there's everything you need very, very close by.
For sure.
But main thing is that if you have questions, just ask. Ask through Instagram, ask through Yellow Rose, ask through the website. It'll get answered, and come have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast, man. Well, Mike, I really appreciate it, dude. I'm glad we were able to knock this out now. That way, when we get busy coming up to the event, we're not trying to scramble to make this podcast happen.
No, for sure. And we covered a lot of this before, but this is just kind of a retool. But the other thing, too, is when you get all your ducks in a row on what you're doing with the tour, please send it to me, because we want to post out as much as we can on our Instagram to let folks know what that's all about, and who the people are involved, if we can, get that going. Because essentially, those are our invited builders this year.
Yeah. So
even though it hasn't been promoted as such, which should have been, we just, time goes
busy.
by.
We should have made a page for it, like an Instagram for it, but we're all kind of like, fuck.
Absolutely.
So,
and you really should, if you're up for it, is to continue that next year.
Oh, we are 100%.
Performance builds. They definitely, you could transition out of FXR if that's what you want to do, but performance builds, and that could grow however you see fit. So if it's the ride like you're doing, and then the show, great. If it's just the show, great. But again, extending out anything you want to do is there for you.
Nice. Well, like I said, we're ramping up. All the builds are starting to become rollers now, so the excitement's kind of building. And next year, Justin and I are pretty excited because we won't be building bikes ourselves, which will give us a lot more time to kind of be the showrunners and promoters of the situations or of the event. So, we're looking forward to next year. But this year, we feel just like every one of the other builders, like scrambling to try to get these bikes done and hope they make it the 1,000-mile journey from Durango to Yellow Rose Canyon. So it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, well, we hope they do too. But yeah, as soon as you got everything lined up, like send me and I'll do the Instagram for that. I'll post the builders, obviously if you got any update photos, and make sure that people know, because it is an attraction. There's a lot of guys out there, they don't care about a knucklehead, they don't care about some old chopper, they feel like they can't be ridden even though they can. It's not really their wheelhouse, but they are excited about a newer bike and the ride, right? There's so many people that just love to ride. They don't care about what the bike looks like. So, but you've got everything. You've got killer performance built bikes that look amazing, but then also you've done this 1,000-mile journey to get there. So that's a great story. And I think there'll be a lot of people that want to go see that, and then also meet the people that did that.
Exactly.
And that is something to be inspired by, not influenced by, but inspired by, is that, holy shit, man, these guys built these crazy ass show bikes and just went on a 1,000-mile ride all together, which is fun. And I'm sure there'll be a million stories and breakdowns and fixes and experiences that, that's what we want to promote, the good of the motorcycle world, not the bad.
Exactly.
That is good.
I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you inspired me last year with the way that you kind of pushed us to kind of create our own thing, and the support that you gave Justin and I is, it's much appreciated to be able to make this the home of this. So
take a shitload of vitamins and get some sleep. We need you alive this year, not sick.
All right, bud. Well, hey, thank you.
You're running a program now.
Yeah, I gotta get like an official hat or something. So anyway, Mike, I appreciate it. We'll wrap this up, and then stay on the line and talk some more business real quick. Okay.
Sounds good, dude. I really appreciate it, and thanks for everybody who's going to listen to this thing. Hit me up if you have any questions.
All right. Thanks, bud.
You got it. Take care.
I truly hope that you guys enjoyed this episode with Mike, and I want to thank him again for all the things that he's done for us over the last year. And it's been a great opportunity to know him and all that good jazz. Guys, FXR Tour's coming up. It's happening very soon. Born Free Texas is where it's going down. Hopefully we'll see you guys there. If you can, in the meantime, please check out our sponsors on this podcast. And don't forget, we have a Patreon where you can support the things that I'm doing, whether it's the extra content, just the possibility of winning a Simpson motorcycle helmet, or you just like what we're doing and you want to keep this thing happening. Please check it out. Links in the description below. And we're going to be back again here real soon with another episode for you guys this month. So take care and have a good one.